lads and lassies, and welcome back to another episode of Mayhems Musings. Today I will be talking about the cult classic horror film Session 9 from 2001. So a little bit of background of my history with this film. Session 9 is a film that I've always heard about but was never able to watch up until recently. It was one of those horror films that when I first got into the genre I heard a lot about, and apparently it was very unique and interesting, but I just could never find it anywhere. Not streaming, not Blu-ray. DVD I think you could get, but I'm not quite sure. So I was on the hunt for this film for nearly a decade for somewhere to watch it. Cut to November last year, and this film got a second sight Blu-ray release scheduled for the end of December. Now this is the first time that this film has been released in the UK, I believe, and the only other time it's been released was by Scream Factory back in 2016 on a limited edition run Blu-ray. So it's only ever had a Blu-ray release twice in its entire 21-year lifespan. And the fact that the first Blu-ray release for it was only put out 6 years ago is insane to me. But obviously that release was region locked to America because region locking is still a thing for some stupid reason. Yes, I get it. Obviously there's the need for not letting people see films before they're out in their country, but it's about time we just scrap these and just have a more coherent release schedule for films across the world. It's very, very annoying and stressful for the end user, such as myself and my friend Callum, and just movie lovers in general that like to collect Blu-rays and that. That's one of the great things about 4K films, is that they're all region free, so no matter where you order it from, it'll play. I just recently ordered the Army of Darkness 4K, and yes, I can't play the 2 Blu-rays that are with it, but I can still play the 4K fine, so why not do that with Blu-rays? Anyway, back to the film. So it's safe to say that when I heard it was getting the second sight treatment, I was unbelievably excited. But as the release date grew closer and closer, I started to get less and less interested until the week before it came out I cancelled it and never thought much about it afterwards. Then, a couple days ago, when I was browsing Amazon, I saw that the second sight limited edition Blu-ray set was still available, and that instantly drew me back in again. But it was expensive for just one movie that I wasn't even sure I was going to like. £32 expensive to be exact. So I did some research to see if there was anywhere I could stream it or buy it before dropping that much money on it. But to my disappointment, you cannot rent or buy it anywhere in the UK as far as I know. So I thought it over and I decided to just take a shot in the dark, and I dropped £32 on it. And I'll be brutally honest with you guys, I am so glad I did, because I love this film. Now I'm first going to go over what is included in the second sight set. So you have this lovely little big box with a little J card in the back, and then more art, and then obviously that side as well. So included is the Blu-ray, just lovely, and 2 discs. The movie, just going to focus, and bonus features. I've not checked out the bonus features yet, but I am looking forward to checking them out in the future. It also comes with some art cards and a behind the scenes art book, making of-esque little booklet. Now Second Sight is a company that over the past few years I've grown to love more and more. Now the first one that really got me excited was when they announced their Host limited edition, the Shudder exclusive film at the time that was made during lockdown, which I've seen and is fantastic. I didn't pick that one up sadly, but the next one that got me instantly stoked when it was announced was the Lake Mungo set. Now, this is a film that, like Session 9, although I think more so in this case, Lake Mungo's never had a Blu-ray release up until Second Sight picked it up and released it. And you can't get this set now, although I'm so glad that I did pick it up, because this film is incredible, and I will probably do a musings video on it sometime in the future. And I believe next week I have the Boiling Point Second Sight coming, which I'm very excited for because that film is brilliant as well. They also did the Dog Soldiers 4K release, which I have, the limited set, but let's get back to the movie at hand. Now this is where I'm going to probably go a bit more off script, so if it seems a little less coherent, that's why. I'm still dipping my toes into writing these before I do them, so let's get into it. So as stated before, I absolutely love this film. The score is utilised so well. It's not there a lot of the time, but when it is used, it's used extremely effectively to make it feel very surreal. The whole premise behind these people being in this asylum is very well done. Them being asbestos cleaners and them being hired to obviously remove the asbestos from this building. And the background of the building is also quite interesting as well. If you've seen the film, I'm not going to go into details on the alleged scandal that they go over as to why the hospital shut down, but if you know, you know. And if you haven't watched the film, why the hell are you here? please go watch it. It is fantastic. It's one that up until the end, I wasn't fully with it, in terms of, I was like, this is very good. But then as soon as like we started getting all the reveals at the end, I was instantly just, I fell in love. And by the time the final line is said and then it cuts to black, I was sat there for a solid 30 seconds just frozen in fear and just, oh, I've not felt this from a film in a very, very long time, let alone a horror film. I'm going to go over some of my favourite parts of the film. The first one being the sequence where Hank goes back to the asylum after finding this brick in the wall. He pulls it out and there's all these rings and coins and everything. And he's like, oh, these are probably worth a fair bit because it's from quite a while back and there's a lot of them. So he goes back there at night to, you know, pick through the rubble and put it in his bag and take it and sell it. So as he's doing that, you know, it's all normal, and you start to see little subtle bits where you see him pull out another hand of stuff and there's a hair attached to it. Now the film doesn't pay attention to this. It just has Hank, you know, pull it away like, oh, that's just hair, and then sift through it. And there's obviously wedding rings that have been tagged as people's belongings, but it's just things like that where you see the hair, you're just like, oh. And then there's a panning shot once he puts the brick back in during the daytime that you see it's actually the back of the morgue. When he goes back at night, he obviously gets his bag stuff and then he's leaving. And there's this one shot where he's going down there's a side for the inmates and there's a side, sorry, the patients, and there's a side for the doctors and staff. And it clearly shows you staff side, patient side. He goes through the patient side and he's walking down, and then he hears a noise. And this is all pitch black. The only light is his flashlight and then some moonlight illuminating the other end of the hallway. He turns around and he doesn't see anything. And he starts to freak out a bit. And then he starts speeding up. And then he turns around again because he hears another noise. Nothing there. Keeps running. Then he hits a wall, turns around, and then you just, sorry, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. You just see this figure just step out and it's just complete darkness and he just starts freaking out and he bolts. And that, just thinking about it right now, is giving me goosebumps. And then after that, he thinks he's safe, he's out, and then he's walking up here. The camera switches and round the corner you see the camera coming in and then it meets him and it cuts. And that shit scared the fucking crap out of me. That was so well done. Absolutely brilliant. When Mike finds the tapes and he starts listening to them, it's very unsettling. But it's a bit, oh, spooky interview tape at first. But as it gets on and the tapes get creepier and creepier and we start to hear from these different voices within Mary, eventually Simon comes out. It's just terrifying how monotone he is. It just sends chills down your spine. Our main character Gordon, played phenomenally by Peter Mullen, is very interesting as well, with how you see him sitting outside his house and seeing his wife and all that. And you're just there like, why is he not going in? Why doesn't he just go in? But then later on, he tells Phil in confidence that, oh, I hit my wife by accident because, you know, she poured a boiling pot of pasta hot water on my leg, which explains earlier in the car when he's pulling up his trousers. You see him like being like, ah, but you think, oh, he's just hit her. That's, you know, okay, that's bad, but you should be able to mend it if it was just this one little thing. I know it's bad. And the reveal later on that he didn't just hit his wife, he murdered her and his baby. And possibly his dog, I'm not quite sure. I can't find any positive information on that, but the sound the dog makes sounds like it. It left me frozen with fear. Another scene that I absolutely loved is when Jeff is walking up the stairs from being in the basement, plugging back in the power supply, and you just see Hank at the window with his glasses on, just there. And Jeff's like, oh, Hank, where you been? And he's just like, what are you doing here? And he keeps speaking, and then Hank's like, what are you doing here? And you're like, okay, is this just generic creepy ghost crap? But then Jeff's like, hang on a minute, and he goes and gets the others and he comes back and Hank's not there. And you see obviously the blood on the window and his coin is dropped on the floor. So it wasn't ghost shit. They all split up and go different directions. And Phil goes down into this one area and finds Hank just sitting in the corner with all his clothes off, just, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? And it's just, oh, the slow shot around the corner with the flashlight is so well done. And then you see the power start to go out, and Jeff is obviously afraid of the dark. He has a phobia of it. And you see him be like, oh fuck, and he starts running down the hall, and there's the shot where you see all the lights slowly fade, and you see him like, oh fuck, and he just starts bolting down the thing. That was so well done. Layered with the tape overhead, and just seeing Mike go out and start filling up the generator, you're like, oh my god, hurry the fuck up. It is just so fucking well done. Going back to when Hank was doing his generic creepy ghost shit, when he's like, oh, why are you here? The reveal later, when you see that what's actually happened to him, that was foreshadowed earlier, is the fact that when he takes off his glasses, there's the pick gone through his eye up into his brain, and you know in that moment that he's been lobotomized, and that's why he's repeating the same things and not with it anymore. And that reveal was just shocking, because obviously they set it up earlier at lunch when Mike explains it, and it's just, oh fuck, again, just haunting shit. And finally, the biggest reveal of them all, the fact that it was Gordon doing this the whole time. There was no ghosts. I did not see it coming at all. It freaked me out. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it now. It freaked me the fuck out, and I thought it was just done so well. Normally I don't like it when they explain how it makes sense, but I thought it was really well done in what they showed from when Hank got caught, and you see Gordon like there just like kind of out of it, and then he kills him. Brilliant. Or sorry, he lobotomizes him. Now, after watching the film, I read some theories online that makes me love this film even more. Some of them being theories about Gordon being a patient that came back. Makes a lot of sense. How they asked the security guard, oh, you know, what's the deal with this place? And he says, oh, it was shut down in 85, I think it was. And he's like, yes, some of them come back. Some of the patients come back because loads of them were made homeless when the place shut down. And the theory that Gordon is one of these patients that's just come back is really chilling to think about. I'm not sure I'm not sure that's what I believe, but it's so cool to see that. Like, I never even thought of that watching the film, but it could totally make sense. And also Simon being this malignant entity that, as I'll get into in a minute, just latches itself onto the weak. And the fact that like Simon has the ability to be in any of us. Or it could be this malignant entity in the asylum that takes over Gordon because he's weak and just really beaten down. I loved also. All these theories are just so cool to think about that it just makes me love the film even more, like I said. Now we get to what I think is one of the best endings to a horror film I've ever seen, and that's the final line we hear from the tape from Simon. I live in the weak and the wounded, Doc. And oh God, I'm freaking out a little bit talking about it now, but that shit hit me so hard, and like I said, I was sat there for a solid 30 seconds through the credits, just frozen looking at the screen. And this was like 2:30 in the morning, and I'm shaking, and I've got goosebumps thinking about it right now. It's absolutely just brilliant shit. So overall, I absolutely love this film, and I'm annoyed that I didn't check it out sooner. It's quickly become one of my favourite horror films. And that's only from one watch, and I'm so excited to get it to eventually show Callum and other people it, because it is just absolutely brilliant, and I encourage you all to check it out. I mean, if you're watching this, you probably already have checked it out, but if you haven't and you are watching this, please check it out, because it is brilliant shit. It's very hard to get a hold of, although I believe you can rent it on Amazon in America. For you UK people, use your VPNs, you'll find a way. But if you can, please watch this film. It is fucking fantastic. And it's from the same director as The Machinist and a bunch of other films, but this one right here is my favourite of his so far. So, thank you guys for watching another episode of Mayhems Musings. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've seen the film, please let me know what you think about it. I'm eager to get into a discussion about it. And as always, if you liked it, leave a like, drop a comment, and don't forget to subscribe, turn the notification bell on, and share this video with anyone you think would enjoy it. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers!